Recently, I realized that less truly means more after watching a podcast interview with TK Coleman on the Lila Rose podcast, where he says something like minimalism makes room for the things, tangible or intangible, that matters most to me. And these words stood in my mind for a couple days and helped me make a decision that I was battling with for almost 2 years. For years, I thought that the secret to looking good was having a lot of money to spend on expensive gym memberships, overpriced healthy foods, and designer clothes that looked good. But it came a time that I was forced to face my insecurities with the resources that I had available to me at the moment, which at that moment didn't really seem to be much. But since I was in a situation where I had no other choice but to make do with what I had, I began to adapt and make the most out of every opportunity. And I realized that sometimes the fact that we have less can give us a huge advantage. And the situations that were once not so ideal started to feel like an opportunity instead of a deal breaker. And if you are in a position where you want to change your life, but you feel like the lack of money or time is getting between you and your goals, then you should definitely stick around and hear what I'm about to say next. Now, to be more specific, the first time that I realized this was when I lost 60 pounds in 3 months. I was very overweight and I was forced to go on a diet due to some health issues that I was having. At the time, this diet felt very restrictive, not because I had to count calories, but because in order to heal, I had to give up on most processed foods that I was used to eating. But in just 2 weeks, I saw that maybe restraint wasn't so bad after all. For a 25-year-old that spent most of my life trying to lose weight and failing all the time, I couldn't believe that the solution could be so simple. I stopped eating every 3 hours and I started to eat only 3 meals a day. And the fact that I couldn't eat most processed foods made me rely on fresh, seasonal produce that was available to me. That, combined with the fact that I didn't have much money to spend on expensive fruits, veggies, and meats, was the perfect excuse for me to develop a simple, clean meal plan. And I quickly found out that despite taking so many foods out of my diet, I still had so many options and variety. And these options were not just enough, but they were exactly what I needed to thrive. That meal plan, combined with some small habit changes, was what led me to lose so much weight in such a short period of time. Many of us believe that happiness and success comes from having a lot of variety to choose from. But what I've found out on my quick weight loss journey is that success happens when you're in the ideal environment and make the most out of your resources and your time. Maybe you believe that it's not possible to achieve your goals because you're not in the ideal environment. But let me tell you that environment, it's not so much about what surrounds us, but it is also about the way that we look at the things around us. As I previously said, I used to think that I didn't have the ideal environment and I didn't have the ideal conditions. But when I was forced to act despite of how ready and equipped I felt, I began to see that I had much more things in my favor than against me. The diet and money restriction turned out to be exactly what I needed to achieve my health and weight loss goals, and less turned out to be more. Now, when it comes to resources, it's also easy to believe that we don't have what it takes. And maybe you also believe that you don't have the time or the money to pursue your goals right now. But this is exactly where the concept of minimalism given by T.K. Coleman comes in. The habit of creating time and space for what truly matters by removing the things that don't matter. I'm sure that I'm not the only one who decided to watch a movie only to spend an entire hour searching for the right movie on a streaming platform. That hour that was spent searching could be almost an entire movie watched. if only we knew what to watch or there wasn't so many options. So, at the contrary of what is often told to us, variety is not really the hero, but it can be the main villain against our success. The frugal meal plan that I created didn't only make my life easier in terms of cooking, but it also gave me time and freedom, mentally and physically, to do the things that I really wanted and needed to do. And I talk more about how to achieve real freedom and success on this video right here if you want to check it out. Recently, I also saw this same minimalist rule apply to another area of my life. As a woman, I always wanted to look pretty, feminine, and put together. So, of course, I wanted to have a wardrobe that reflected that. And after I lost weight, I had the perfect opportunity to renew my wardrobe, since most of the clothes I had no longer fitted me anymore. But these desires started a whole saga where I would see clothes online that looked good, but when I got them and tried them on, I hated the way that they looked on me. This led me to start exploring and learning more about style, body types, and color theories, which helped me a little bit. But at the end of the day, I was still left with a wardrobe that didn't reflect who I was and that I didn't really like. Then I got pregnant. And once again, I was forced out of my comfort zone by restriction. The few pairs of pants that I had were no longer fitting the bump. And I felt like the only things that I could wear that made me look pretty were dresses. So throughout my entire pregnancy, I wore dresses most of the time. But a few months after I had my baby and lost the baby weight, I began to look for pants and tops again, leading me to restart the whole nothing looks good saga. And it was only when I heard TK Coleman's words that I realized that maybe the solution for me was not to have more variety in my wardrobe, but to restrict myself by having an all dresses wardrobe. Dresses are practical, feminine, pretty, and they make me look instantly more polished compared to tops and pants. And once again, what seemed restrictive turned out to be liberating and led me to success. These were only a few examples on how restricting ourselves and having less can make our lives much better than having more. And maybe next time that we face a situation that seems adverse or restrictive, we can try to look for the positive side and see if there's a hidden opportunity behind it. So now I want to hear from you. What is the thing that you have been avoiding doing because you don't believe that you are in the ideal situation? Let me know in the comments below. All right, that's it for today. I hope that this video blessed you and inspired you. And I'll see you in the next one.